Let me now introduce India Grid Trust. India Grid Trust is an infrastructure investment trust established to own interstate power transmission assets in India. IndiGrid was established on October 21st, 2016 by their sponsor, Sterlite Power Grid Ventures Limited, and is registered with SEBI. The company's sponsor is one of the leading independent power transmission companies operating in the private sector, with extensive experience in bidding, designing, financing, constructing, and maintaining power transmission projects across India. IndiGrid is focused on providing stable and sustainable distributions to their unit holders and believes that they are well positioned to take advantage of the growth potential of India's power transmission industry, given the company's financial position, support from their sponsor, and the robust regulatory framework for power transmission in India. To tell us more about the company and its achievements, we have with us here today a glittering array of dignitaries who are stalwarts in their respective fields. We also have luminaries from the world of capital markets and investment banking. It's now my pleasure to invite our dignitaries to take their seats at the dais. Firstly, I'd like to invite on stage Mr. Vedmani Tiwari, Chief Operating Officer, Sterlite Power. Next, I'd like to invite Mr. Harsha, Chief Financial Officer of IndiGrid. Next, representing the book-running lead managers, I'd like to invite Mr. Satyan Shah of Edelweiss Financial Services Limited. Mr. V.K. Bansal of Morgan Stanley India Private Limited. Mr. Rahul Saraf, Citigroup Global Markets Private Limited. And our host for today, Mr. Nehal Bora, Chief Regulatory Officer, BSE Limited. And now, to mark an auspicious beginning, I'd like to request our esteemed dignitaries to please make their way down to light the traditional lamp. Thank you. To commence proceedings, let me now invite Mr. Satyen Shah from Edelweiss Financial Services Limited to make the opening remarks. Mr. Satyen Shah.
So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of India Grid Trust and all the BRLMs, Edelweiss, Morgan Stanley and Citibank, I would like to extend a warm welcome to all of you today on the listing ceremony of IndiGrid. As we all know, this has been the first power transmission asset to InvIT to get listed, and the only second InvIT transaction in India. Having said that, this is a product that is very, very well understood in global markets with over 35 odd unique listed InvIT assets with a market cap of over $60 billion. This is an ideal product for investors who are looking for yield plus some growth. And also, in fact, one of the first time that domestic investors can actually invest in long duration paper. So we believe that this is the beginning of, what we call deepening of capital markets, and there will be many more such transactions that one will get to see. India Grid is being promoted, or the key sponsor is Sterlite Power, and as was mentioned earlier, Sterlite Power is a leading independent power transmission company. We would like to extend a sincere vote of thanks to everybody involved in the issue, right from the regulators, SEBI, the exchanges, BSE, NSE, and all the other people involved, right from the lawyers, the registrar, in making the PR agencies and the bankers in making this a huge success. What I also like to mention is, as we do anything new, there are a lot of learnings that come our way, and this transaction was full of them, right from understanding regulations from an Indian context, as well as articulating what an InvIT means to investors, and it's been a truly enriching learning experience for all of us involved in the deal. Having said that, I would like to really thank the Sterlite Group for giving us an opportunity to represent them. And as the company enters into this new phase, we hope that all of you will continue to support it the way you have done so far. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next, let me invite Mr. Harsha Shah, Chief Financial Officer of IndiGrid, to address the gathering. Mr. Harsha Shah.
Thank you, friends. A first big vote of thanks for BSE to host us today morning. So thank you. It's a long journey, and a vote of thanks, as Satyen mentioned, goes to SEBI, Ministry of Finance, investors, and all the advisors who have worked with us. Let me tell you, this is achieved, the entire product from conception to listing in 3 years. And I would say this is the fastest turnaround for any listing under a new regulation across the world. And therefore, I think a big thanks goes to the regulators who have framed the regs in a way that investors feel comfortable, and investors who have trusted the companies for investing in them. Just I'll take a minute about explaining what IndiGrid stands for. So IndiGrid stands for a long-term cash flow yielding asset. Transmission is the core of it, and transmission assets by nature are long-term. Contracts that transmission assets have are perpetual in nature, and therefore will throw the yield income to investors for a longest period of time. And to start with, the initial contract itself is more than 33 to 35 years. And therefore, it gives a very long visibility of yield and distribution coming to investors. The quality of cash flow is of a AAA nature, and therefore, it's one of the highest and the safest cash flow available for distribution. On top of it, IndiGrid has acquired special rights on sponsors' pipeline of assets. And as we acquire them, it will result in a multifold growth of assets under management and also dividend growth. And therefore, investors will end up making a total return, which is large part of the return by yield and subsequent part of the returns by acquiring more assets under special rights and growth. It's a unique product which offers investors an avenue to invest where there is a stable income and there is growth, which is in a tax-friendly manner, which we feel as an instrument was not available in India till now. And SEBI and government has been pretty pragmatic in allowing this to fructify. And we feel that InvIT as a product is going to transform the way infrastructure projects are financed and made available for investors to own infrastructure projects in a longer period of time, and which will allow the country to grow at a much faster pace. And we are just the beginning of this long journey, and we'll look forward for the support. As a management team of IndiGrid, our focus will remain towards providing a distribution dividend income to our investors. That's a key focus area for us. And how do we grow that distribution to investors? And we as management will continue to work towards increasing that distribution. Thank you. I will invite Mr. Vedmani Tiwari, who is the CEO of our sponsor and a very strong sponsor, and that's what will continue to grow our portfolio. Wait, please.
Thank you so much, Harsh. Good morning, dignitaries on the dais and August gathering here. For us at Sterlite Power, it's one of the greatest moments. We are proud and privileged to be here on the day of listing of IndiGrid. It's a dream which was conceived few years ago, and a lot of hard work has gone into making it reality. Harsh has already explained to you about what does an InvIT mean and how will it help create wealth for investors into the IndiGrid. As sponsors to IndiGrid, our job is to ensure that the sustainability of the cash flow to IndiGrid, because we are the project managers to the assets which will go into the IndiGrid. Let me assure you that we have a enviable track record when it comes to maintaining our assets. All our assets have maintained a very good availability records, which are available, all the details are available in the red herring prospectus. And let me assure you that we have the right technical capability and the managerial capability to continue to serve our investors in terms of cash flows that will come to the IndiGrid. The other responsibility that we have is towards pipeline. And let me tell you that transmission is a very interesting sector in days to come. India will add close to 50% of its existing installed capacity in next 5 years. And 60 to 70% of that generation capacity will come from renewable energy assets. The big characteristics of renewable energy assets are that they get built in 1/4 of the time that it takes to build a thermal plant. That means the timelines required for transmission lines are going to be compressed like anything. That means we will see the growth in next 5 years, which has not been seen in the last 10-15 years. And at Sterlite Power, we are committed to participate in this infrastructure story of the government, because although India is the third largest country in terms of installed capacity, but we have only 1/4 of the per capita consumption of electricity. We are thankful to the government that government has taken a lot of steps. The industrialization and urbanization will increase per capita consumption of electricity. Uday scheme is improving the health of discoms, and which will encourage discoms to offtake more power from the generating stations. The way renewable energy tariffs are going down, the electricity is going to be affordable for everyone, and that which means that there will be more and more demand for transmission lines. At Sterlite Power, we take pride that we have deployed the best of the technologies available anywhere in the world to build assets faster than it has been experienced in this country. We are committed to deploying technology to build assets in time, and we will be able to assure our investors that Sterlite Power will continue to provide its support to IndiGrid when it comes to pipeline assets. I would like to thank government for creating such a unique, innovative instrument where a common investor can participate in infrastructure. Infrastructure is a very capital intensive venture, and all credit goes to the government for creating a policy for infrastructure investment trust, and the regulators who created this product and brought it to market so fast. I'm also thankful to the government for taking a lot of initiatives to improve the overall economic health of the country, and especially the power sector. We are very confident that and excited to participate in this journey for our investors. I congratulate the investors who repose confidence in IndiGrid and subscribe to the units of IndiGrid. I would like to thank all the bankers, law firms, PR agencies who worked with us to make this product successful. So many people have worked on in making this successful that it will take a lot of time to mention everyone's name. I would like to thank every single person who was associated with this product, and I wish great luck to IndiGrid and the investors of IndiGrid. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And now I'd like to invite Mr. Nehal Bora, Chief Regulatory Officer, BSE, to address the gathering. Mr. Nehal Bora.
So I wish you all a very good morning. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome all of you to BSE today as we celebrate the landmark listing of India Grid Trust, the only second InvIT at the International Convention Hall. On behalf of BSE, I would like to extend a warm welcome to Mr. Harsha, Mr. Vedmani Tiwari, and also the bankers, Mr. Satyan Shah, Mr. V.K. Bansal, Mr. Rahul Saraf, all the registrars, auditors, employees of the company, members of the media, and invited guests. We are very happy to welcome India Grid Trust into the BSE family. This iconic venue, the International Convention Hall, has closely witnessed the growth of many such companies and trusts and many such new products in the past decade. First as a trading ring for brokers, and then as a convention hall, post the move from a physical trading form into an electronic trading platform. In terms of this goes in line with the government's initiative and push into the infrastructure sector, and especially the power sector. It becomes a very important and integral part of financing infrastructure. And India InvITs, we as part of the regulatory team has been part with SEBI in kind of formulating the policy. And we are very proud and happy to see this fructify into a listing which I believe will go a long way in financing infrastructure, which is the need of the hour and which is the main thrust and core of today's policies. In terms of the India Grid Trust, which was set up only in October 2016, is something which is very proud to see that it has, in a very short period of time, as the other speakers have said, been able to gather the subscription and list on the exchange. And I feel this will be a testimony of many such InvITs to come onto the exchange platform, to contribute to the market capitalization of BSE, which is standing at a staggering $2 trillion. We are amongst the top 10 exchanges in the world. And we believe that we partner with each one of the companies, each one of the infrastructure trusts, to kind of creating value not only for the investors, but also for the companies. With the successful completion, we welcome you as a newest member to the BSE family. I would like to extend my best wishes to India Grid Trust and its entire team on this momentous occasion, and wish them all the very success in their future endeavors. Thank you.
We're now going to have an exchange of mementos, and because we do have to ring the bell at 10, I'm going to go through this a little bit quickly since we have a lot to go through. So Mr. Nehal Bora will now present special mementos to our dignitaries. Firstly, Mr. Harsha. Mr. Ved Mani Tiwari. Mr. Rahul Saraf. Mr. V.K. Bansal. And Mr. Satyan Shah. Next, Mr. Ved Mani Tiwari and Mr. Harsha will present special mementos to our dignitaries as well as those whose contributions have made this momentous occasion possible. Firstly, Mr. Nehal Bora. Mr. Rahul Saraf. Mr. V.K. Bansal. Mr. Satyan Shah. A representative from the Legal Counsel, Cyril Amarchand Mangaldas. A representative from the Legal Counsel's S&R Associates. A representative from International Legal Counsels to the issue Latham and Watkins, LLP. Mr. Subramanian from Ad Factors Advertising and PR. A representative from the Statutory Auditors, SRBC and Company, LLP, Chartered Accountants. A representative from the Registrars to the issue, Karvi Computershare Private Limited. And a representative from the printer to the issue, Western's Printers. Access Trustees. Thank you. I would now like to invite Mr. V.K. Bansal from Morgan Stanley to say a few words.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of senior management of Sterlite Investment Managers Limited, it's my pleasure to address you all on this listing ceremony of India Grid. Over the last few years, Sterlite has emerged as one of the leading independent power transmission company in India. It owns 11 transmission assets in India, making it one of the largest players in the country in transmission sector. Also, they have made foray into international market, having 2 projects in Brazil. In its journey towards a larger role in transmission space, Sterlite launched the Innovate IPO of India Grid Trust, and it was heartening to see the investors' appetite, not only from the Indian institutional investors, but also from some of the very reputed global investors, including new investor coming to India first time. InvIT could be a game changer for the capital markets, not only from an issuer and investor's perspective, but also from the health and depth of broader capital markets and the economy. We are really privileged to be associated with Sterlite and India Grid on this important transaction, and I would like to give my best wishes to the senior management team on their journey ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And now I'd like to invite Mr. Rahul Sura from Citigroup Global Markets India Private Limited to address the gathering.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Sterlite sponsors and managers, as well as the book runners and legal advisors, I thank you all for attending this listing ceremony. Given the significant firsts associated with the transaction, as have been enumerated earlier, I believe this IPO would strengthen Sterlite's position as a leading power transmission company in India and in the world. And it will also allow many infrastructure companies to evaluate capital raising through an InvIT. Citi is proud to be associated with this first power transmission InvIT. I have worked very closely with Sterlite and its management for the last several months, and personally, it's been a great learning experience. I'm confident that this group will achieve many milestones and successes. I wish them very good luck. Thank you.
We're now under 2 minutes to 10 o'clock, which is perfect because that's the moment we've all been waiting for. India Grid Trust is about to go live on BSE, so I'd like to request our dignitaries to please make their way to the gong. And I request the audience to join me when the timer gets to 10 seconds. You can join me in the countdown. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Congratulations! India Grid Trust is now officially listed on BSE. Congratulations on this momentous occasion, and we're so glad you could all be part of it, and we'd like to invite you to please stay on for breakfast. Thank you so much, and once again, heartiest congratulations.